we're alive.
That's fine.
There we go.
All right.
Enough of that.
Alrighty, I'll finish looking at this afterwards as well. Okay, let's see.
Here we are, 20 seconds in.
There we are. Celtics Heat. Celtics on a roll once again. I don't know how the Heat have been doing in the recent games. Should probably look at that.
I don't know about recent games. I know for the season they're nothing special.
They're struggling this year. Let's see.
This may be a banner day for the Wi-Fi with the weather outside.
Not going well already.
I don't know. I'm just saying.
Gotcha.
A day like today is a recipe for disaster.
Got you. Well, the Heat are very streaky this year. They've won 3 in a row, so it's, not bad lately. 2 against Washington, 1 against Atlanta. 3 teams that are in the playoff picture right now, at the very least. Atlanta, pretty notably better than Washington, I would say. But before that, they lost 4 in a row. Before that, they won 3 in a row, lost 2, won 2, lost 2. They're very streaky. That being said, the last time they played, we could consider a championship contender, the Suns, I would say. They did beat the Suns November 14th. They picked up decent wins all season, but the last time they played the Celtics was the second night of the season, and the Celtics did have the edge that night. I think I can't remember exactly. It was a while ago, but I think it was somewhat of a close game, and then the Celtics just kind of not ran away with it, but they convincingly kind of
they closed the game.
Yeah, they closed it out well.
I don't remember it being overwhelmingly close.
Yeah,
the Orlando game was more close from what I remember.
Yes, but yeah, the Heat have not exactly lived up to expectations so far this season. They find themselves, I believe, around 10th in the conference. If I remember, they're 11th right now, 10-11 on the year, 8-4 at home, 2-7 on the road, and they are in Boston tonight, which bodes well for the Celtics, who have only lost 1 game at home this year. Hello, Jackin. So yeah, Celtics probably putting themselves in a pretty good position tonight.
Yeah, they are red hot. They've scored over 130 points in the last 2 games. They've been shooting the lights out. They've gotten good production out of the bench. I'd imagine that both Tatum and Brown are going to play today. I know Brown was on the list as questionable, but I mean, it's a stiff neck. I don't really know what's gonna. I mean, isn't it funny how Miami's injury report is super long all the time? Like it reminded me of the playoffs when I saw all these guys listed as questionable. Remember in that series, every game it was like the whole team was questionable.
Yeah. Yeah. Their injury report looks rough. Jimmy Butler likely to miss tonight's game at the very least, but he says the report says hopeful for Friday's game, so maybe Butler will be back. Omer Yurtseven is still out. Victor Oladipo will not return, so he is out. Questionable is Max Strus. He's probable to play. Hero is a question mark against the Celtics. Jamal Cain, day-to-day. Haywood Highsmith, day-to-day. Jovic is questionable. Gabe Vincent, questionable, but went through shoot-around and plans to play. Caleb Martin, expected to play, but questionable and listed. Duncan Robinson is questionable. And Dwayne Dedman has been ruled out. So, like Sam said, effectively, Heat's entire roster is on the question list, except for Kyle Lowry, right? I think that was the only guy I didn't mention.
Which is somebody you would think would be on the list.
And Bam Adebayo, yeah. But Lowry's been playing very, very well this season. And Landon, early with the plugs. We appreciate you.
Plug man. Landon, by the way, who was on the podcast today in the comments, saying very kind words to us.
Legend.
Did you see?
I did, yes.
That's right.
I did. I am looking up the Heat's injury report as we speak, though. So
you already have. I thought you just went through it.
Yeah, that's ESPN, though. I want to see if there's been updates on like the.
Oh, okay. Account. All right, fair enough.
But we do have the starting 5, so I can give you that if you're curious. Would you like to guess?
Yeah, is it Smart, Brown, Tatum, Grant, Horford?
Oh, I was talking about the Heat starting 5 because we were just talking about their injury report.
Bam.
That is for the Heat, though.
Okay.
And I'll get you the Celtics momentarily.
Look at that. I was 1 for 1. You put it up before I could get all the words out. I was going to go 5 for 5.
Well, you told me you didn't care, so I stopped giving you the chance.
And same mentality as Monday. I'm at the point, and again, my dad said it the best. If they're losing, it's a disappointment. They shouldn't be losing.
Mhm.
Hey, Phil. Well,
How we doing, everybody? Birkin, I'm getting the starting five up for you. The Celtics put it on the Twitter. Sam, I mean, you can guess if you want, but I have to assume what it is.
I already guessed. I said Smart, Brown, Tatum, Williams, Horford.
Oh, Sam's wrong.
Oh, they
Look
started
at
White
that.
today.
They did. They went Derek White in the starting lineup today for the Celtics.
Oh, good for him. He's earned it. He's
Yeah,
only been
he's been playing
shooting the
very
lights out.
Yeah,
Yes,
Derek White's
Jimmy's
been
out.
incredible. Jimmy is out for the Heat. I don't know the extent of their injury report. I assume we'll get an update momentarily. I'm going to keep an eye on Grandy's Twitter feed. He usually tweets it out or puts it out. Okay, yes. Out at the very least, Dwayne Dedmon, Jimmy Butler, Victor Oladipo, Omer Yurtseven all out for the Heat, which means they are without a backup big man behind Bam, which probably bodes well for the Celtics because they don't really. I mean, Luke Cornett can get in there and play pretty well. And maybe he will because the Heat don't have a backup big, but their backup big after those guys. Even I don't know. I'll put it that way. I don't. I don't think I know who their backup big would be after Dwayne Dedmon and Omer Yurtseven. So
Jack and
maybe well.
talking about the work that Derek
He
White
did.
put in over the summer, and it's so evident. Not even like in the results, but if you just watch him shoot, his form looks so much smoother this year to where it's all one motion. He looks comfortable every time he's shooting, and he looks confident. He's just shooting regardless if someone's in his face, if someone's not, it's the same. There is no panic. It's such a big piece for the Celtics because it's just another guy they can rely on to shoot these threes.
Yep.
They're in love with the three, and they better make them if they are. And right now, through the first quarter of the season, they are, and they're dominating teams because of it.
Yeah, Celtics have been great this year shooting the three ball. Landon with the shameless plug again. We appreciate it. If you'd like to hop on over to How About Them Celtics, we would appreciate it. So thank you, everybody. But yeah, the Celtics have been great. We dropped a new podcast today talking about their offense, Marcus Smart's play, the bench, mostly, or I think all good things. There's not much bad that you can say about the Celtics right now. I know Sam wrote about their bench recently, so we can talk about that. Celtics have 5 out of the top 15 3-point shooters in the NBA, 3 of which are off the bench, 4 of which are off the bench. I guess Williams and White, kind of
their swing.
Yeah, back and forth. But Al Horford, Sam Hauser, Derek White, Malcolm Brogdon, and Grant Williams all in the top 15 when it comes to 3-point percentage. And I believe, Sam, you told me something like Celtics shoot 44% from 3 off the bench, and the next best team is 38%.
Yeah.
So it's a pretty big difference.
A big difference, 6 point percent differential between them and Chicago. And they're only behind Portland this is as of yesterday. It could have changed. Teams played yesterday. But for bench scoring or bench efficiency, they're literally second by a percentage point.
Big field goal percentage, you mean? Yeah, that sounds about right.
Jacken tweeted at us today. He's in the chat asking about Rob, who has been seen out there playing basketball. He blocked somebody today. I'm not sure that was anybody in the league. I think it was a couple of guys that wear the zip ups on the bench. But nonetheless, playing 5-on-5 looks healthy. He's definitely getting there if he's running 5-on-5. Again, I know what your thoughts are going to be, and my thoughts are going to be the same. Why rush him? Your best team in the league without him. You're dominating without him. I've seen people say they should trade him, which I don't know if is true or not. I don't think they should, but
no,
they definitely don't need to rush him back at the very least. There's no need for that. Again, you're not even having issues with your center rotation. Luke Cornett is playing great basketball for what you need out of him. There is no incentive to rush Rob back going to the season. The big fear was, oh man, who's going to be the big off the bench? They don't have anybody. And it was a valid gripe. We didn't know. We knew Cornett was on the team. We didn't know what he'd be able to give. He sprained his ankle right before the season. So you started with Vonleh, who was okay. He was decent in that first couple games, especially against Miami. He played well. Little throwback, little tie-in for today. But Cornette's been playing out of his mind. He's shooting a career high from the field, 68%. He's giving you about 5 points in 13 minutes a night. And recently he had a stretch where he made, 15, 16 shots in a row over the course of a couple games.
Yeah. Yeah, Cornette's great. He made 16 in a row at one point, like you said. And my thing is, I understand this. Like, we have everybody in the chat like saying, "Oh, no need to wait. He's essential."
They're ready. They're
He's
ready
not.
for Rob, man. They
Like,
want to see him out there. He's exciting.
I'm not saying he's not essential and a great piece, but right now he's not essential. Like,
they're going to be real mad when he comes off the bench, like when he first comes back.
Right now, Rob is a luxury. He's an all defensive caliber, young, up and coming center luxury. But you have to remember, this Celtics team is the best team in basketball and the best offense in the NBA by a landslide, and it's not particularly close. Robert Williams is a big man who relies heavily on his athleticism that has had a career riddled with injuries that he's never been able to shake. If resting him for an extra month is what it takes to get him healthy for the long term, rest him till May. I don't care. This is like, the Celtics team is great. Jack doesn't want to be wrong. I don't care if I'm wrong. I mean, if he comes back in December,
what I meant to put up there. This is what I meant to put up there.
Oh yeah, Vonleh struggled with the fouling, and I don't think there's not a big need for him when Cornette's playing so well. But I just don't think it's necessary to bring Rob back before he's absolutely 100%. And if he's 100% right now, sure, fine, bring him back, whatever. But I also don't think it's reasonable, and it's not fair to expect him to immediately be great, because will he improve the team's defense? Absolutely. Will he hurt the team's offense immediately? Probably. How did we forget about Rob's important bad loss? Birkin, they're 17-4, dude. Like, they've had bad losses and they've bounced back immediately. They've only lost 2 games in a row once this season, and it was the Bulls loss and then a tough loss in OT in Cleveland. And outside of that, they've lost 4 games. A bad loss shouldn't be enough to say, okay, let's rush Rob back from a long-term knee injury, surgery. That shouldn't be how you should think of things. And I understand like the desire to get him back, because I think he'll be important to this team's defense in the playoffs. But I know Bobby wrote about it, and there's a bunch of stuff, like people talking about it. Integrating him into this offense is going to be difficult. It's not just going to be easy. Okay, throw him in again. The Celtics offense this year to last year is so much different, right? Like last year they were running and they were shooting some threes, but this year their offense is shooting threes. Everybody on this Celtics roster right now can shoot threes. Like even Luke Cornette, who doesn't take them, he can still shoot them. And as weird as it sounds, I know Bobby talked about it, if Rob comes back, and when he does come back, he's going to play a similar role to Luke Cornette on offense, in terms of he's not going to just be able to space the floor like Al Horford and Grant Williams does. Yeah, exactly, Jack. And like, bring him off the bench 12, 15, that's fine. But like, there's going to be a learning curve, because right now this offense is historically great, and that's because every single player can shoot, right? And you can have Rob setting screens, getting into the paint and cutting and, running pick and rolls, catching lobs, all that, fine. But that's going to take some adjusting, because that's not the way they play right now.
Yeah, they don't have anybody doing that except Cornette, who's actually been pretty good in that role. So to play devil's advocate, Jack,
I said that. I said he's going to play the Cornette role, and that's going to be weird.
No, but seriously, like he's going to fit into it really well, though. Like, I don't think there's going to be as much of an adjustment, because they've already got somebody doing that who isn't as good as Rob and is doing a great job. Again, shooting a career high from the field, 68%. And when he's coming into games, the pace and the offense is changing for the better at times. He's providing a spark.
I agree, but that's short term. And if that's the way you want to think of it, then Rob's going to be what? I mean, if you want to put him directly in that Cornette role, you have to also consider that Cornette's playing like 12 minutes a game, right? Like Rob's not going to be playing 12 minutes a game. You're going to have to adjust the offense for 30 minutes a game, which is a much vastly different thing than that. And
it's not like these guys have never played with Rob before.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying
Brogdon.
this offense is a lot different from last year. They play faster, which can benefit Rob, but they also rely heavily on the three, which doesn't benefit Rob as much. I'm not saying the offense is going to crumble. Like Birkin said, I think the offense, once Rob gets a feel for it and they do find a useful place for him, I think the offense will be better and you'll have another option. You'll have more vertical spacing and the pick and roll will be even better, not to mention the defense, which I talked about. But there's going to be a learning curve, whether that learning curve is a couple games, whether it's him coming off the bench until he learns, whether it's finding the right rotations that work. I don't think it's going to be as seamless as a lot of people are hoping. And I'm not saying that's a reason not to keep him out. And like Landon said, yeah, his passing is also going to be huge for them. Like Cornette's been a solid passer and Rob's even better. But like Phil said, Cornette is there. Blake is there, who played a good game against the Hornets. Unless he's absolutely healthy, like fully 100% ready to go, he can jump through the gym again. There is absolutely no reason to bring him back any sooner than until that point comes. And when it does, Rob's passing, his vertical spacing, his ability, like Jacken said, to play out of the post and make plays, his pick and roll, that sort of stuff is going to be great. But until then, there's no need to rush him. The Celtics are the best team in the league. Again, it's not particularly close. Like the next best team is probably Milwaukee or Phoenix, and both of them are like 2 games behind. It's early in the season. Get him ready for the playoffs. Make sure he's going to be fully healthy for the end of the year, because the worst case scenario is they bring Rob back in the next couple days, and then, May comes along or April comes along and he's feeling sore in his knees. Like that's bad. That's the last thing you want. So got to be careful. Very, very, very careful.
Yeah. I mean, the record is enough for me to say there's no need to rush him. It's going to be exciting when he comes back. We're going to have things to talk about. There's going to be an adjustment. There's going to be all kinds of analysis and different things to look at. It's going to be fun, but this is fun. Like, they're winning and they're killing teams. Like, I don't care. Let them rest. One thing I will say is at some point there will be a need to get him back just so he's ready for the playoffs.
Yeah, of course.
Because there will be the learning curve, like you mentioned, but that's not really on the table right now. It's not close. They're still in November. So
yes,
at least for today. Yeah. Aside from that, we'll talk about Cornette real quick because I wrote about this a little bit. Little tease for tomorrow. Hardwood Houdini. It's coming out in the morning. Banger article I put together. Deep dive into the old Cornette contest. I just was like, is it effective? Is it not effective? And I took a look, and in theory, it should be effective. He is, as long as he's guarding the guy shooting the ball, that's his man. He's not guarding the big. He's not giving up offensive rebounding position. He's not getting beat off the dribble. He's not risking the shooter falling down and trying to draw a foul. Okay. Joe Mazzulla was not a fan of it, right? He said he's got to he's got to get it together. He's got to figure it out, which I didn't get. I truly thought Mazzulla was wrong with what he said, because he said they're going to start beating him. I'm like, I'm not convinced you can really beat him from that far away. He's going to be real slow or real off balance for you to beat him from 15 feet away. But anyways, YouTuber, I believe it's called Heat Check, did a deep dive into the Eclipse. Shut out Landon, right? The Eclipse. And on 12 3-point attempts that he has defended with it this year, only 3 have gone in, right? 25%. I compared that to the average tightly contested 3 in the NBA. The contest, more effective than being 2 to 4 feet on average from the shooter. Small sample size, but really around the league, it's pretty small. Not a lot of contested threes being taken. So you're just taking away a lot of risks for somebody that's not super athletic, not super coordinated. He's in the NBA, but he's still kind of awkward looking at 7'2". Anyone at 7'2" is probably going to be that unless they're Wembanyama. I mean, why would you risk him getting beat off closeouts? He's doing a good job. He's not giving up offensive rebounding position to the big guy. It's something that I just thought was interesting. And turns out stats don't lie. Scal's right. He loves it.
I've been telling you that for years. So
tell him what?
Stats don't lie. I've been telling you stats don't lie for a long time.
This hasn't been a thing for years. What are you talking about?
No. The stats. Yeah. No, Cornette's been great. I think he's been a really good backup big, and soon he'll only be a third string big, with Rob and Horford taking up most of those minutes. So it's been great. Perkins saying, I used to be a sniper as a shooting guard when I was at NEU. Shooters can be distracted from anything unusual. It kind of works. Yeah. I mean, you saw Kelly Oubre kind of get by him against the Hornets the other night. Cornette jumped and Oubre was quick enough to get by him, and I think he got a pretty good layup. But other than that, and a couple other things, and obviously the rebounding thing, I know, Sam, you mentioned. I don't know. We got a question in. Hello, Dad. My dad's stopping by to say hi. Also, Landon saying, what's worse, Christmas or Thanksgiving food?
It's pretty similar.
Yeah, I feel like it's pretty similar. I don't really do Christmas food necessarily.
I guess traditionally it's a ham on Christmas.
Yeah, I like
the ham better than turkey.
I think ham overall is better than turkey, but like a good Thanksgiving turkey with like gravy and like the rest of the Thanksgiving stuff, I'll take Thanksgiving overall. If that makes sense.
I'll tell you what, you want me to complain? Ooh,
no. Sam is going to tell you about how he hates Christmas and he's the Grinch. Is that
no? That's actually not what I was going to do.
All right,
it's not at all what I was going to do.
What were you going to
do? You'll see.
All right. All right. We can get around to the Heat tonight. How can either be bad if you are choosing the food? Both are
traditionally.
Good. Yeah, both are good. We can talk Heat though. Last time we played the Heat, or the Celtics played the Heat, excuse me.
Good job.
It was a pretty good game for the Celtics, obviously, second game of the season, so it's been a while. But they haven't played well since then. The Heat are in 11th place in the Eastern Conference. I think they're just squeaking out with an above 500 record, if I'm correct. I think they're
9-10.
Oh, 9-10. Never mind. I wasn't sure if they were 11-10 or 9-10. So, yeah, they're in 11th place though. As far as their scoring leaders, I'm going to check that out right now and let you know. Who do you think leading them in scoring this year? Would you like to guess?
Hero.
Nope, it is Jimmy Butler, but he's out tonight. Jimmy Butler's averaging 21, 7, and 6 for them. Bam Adebayo putting up 20 points, almost 10 rebounds and 3 assists as well. Tyler Hero sitting at 18 points tonight at a pretty not great 43% from the field, 34% from 3. Pretty average. Also averaging 6.5 rebounds, 4 assists. Kyle Lowry's putting up okay numbers for him. 15 points, 6 assists, 5 rebounds. Max Strus up there at 15 points a night, shooting 42% from the field, 35% from 3, which is not good for Max Strus. I'll put it this way. He's shooting 35% this year. No one's really talking about it. Last year, Duncan Robinson shot 37% from 3, and everyone thought he was the worst contract in the league. That should tell you what contracts mean when you're evaluating players. Max Strus is shooting worse than Duncan Robinson was last year, this year, and no one's really talking about it. One's on a $19 million contract. One's on one.
Miami just throwing around money to guys that really don't deserve it, at least at this point in their career.
They are.
Jimmy Butler played great in the playoffs last year, but he's going to be making $50 million next year. Really? Kyle Lowry,
few years.
Which years, worse. He's going to be close. I mean, yeah, it's even worse. But Kyle Lowry up towards $40 million with his inability to stay healthy. Hero, fine. He's one of your young guys. Adebayo, fine. That's one of your young guys. Robinson at the time was a fine payout, but now he's not playing for you at all. He's not doing well. And it's not the team's fault that he can't shoot anymore. But really, like, they have a lot of money tied up with guys that aren't killer players. Like, Adebayo's fine. Hero's fine. Are they as good as other guys that make that much money? No. Adebayo and Tatum make like the same, right?
Yeah,
close.
I think so.
Yeah,
I think they're the same.
They're making the same. Who would you rather have?
Well, I don't think that's a fair.
What do you mean? What do you mean it's not fair? They make the same money.
I'll put it this way. They make the same money because they're both max players. There's a difference between a max player and a superstar. And superstars, there's no like superstar max contract. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's not a fair comparison. The Heat weren't going to say, sorry, we're not going to give you a max contract. Because
let's not pretend the Heat are a small market team. It's different when, like, I say, like, Gobert sucks and he shouldn't be getting paid the max, which he shouldn't be, and he's proving it this year. But also, there is a fair point to be made. Like, it's Utah. How else are you going to get people to play for you?
Okay, so
it's Miami. They attract free agents like it's
so the Celtics. The Celtics shouldn't pay Jaylen Brown then.
They should pay Jaylen Brown.
So you're contradicting yourself.
No.
That's an absolute contradiction. 1,000,000%. Dude, come on. You're saying the Celtics should pay Jayson Tatum a max contract and Jaylen Brown a max contract, but the Heat shouldn't have get Bam Adebayo a max contract.
Both those guys are better than Bam.
Bam Adebayo and Jaylen Brown are a lot closer.
Both
there's
those
a max
guys
contract.
are doing more for your team as an individual than Adebayo is. Adebayo, similar. Now, he's not Gobert. He's not Gobert. So I'm not saying that.
So Bam Adebayo is not a max player.
He is more limited than both Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown. He is not going to be the best player on a serious contending playoff team. I didn't say championship team because I don't know if Jaylen Brown by himself is a championship player.
He has been.
He's not the best player. It's been Butler.
Okay,
when they're in the playoffs and they're going through teams, it's Butler.
Jaylen Brown's not the best player.
He's not. Not on this team. He's not.
And Bam's not on the Heat, but he's done like the same thing. He's been to a championship with the Heat. He's made deep playoffs runs. He's made conference finals. But he shouldn't be a max contract, and Jaylen Brown should.
They are not. They're not the same. They're both max.
So Bam Adebayo is not a max player.
The Celtics are paying are creators. Bam Adebayo is not creating.
Player. So only creators are max contract players.
It should be something that teams should consider. There should be serious consideration in that because you're locking up money with somebody that's not creating offense for you. It's a big difference.
Come on.
What do you mean? Come on. It's true. Throwing around money is dangerous. Just look at Gobert. I keep going back to it. The guy makes a ton of money. He sucks. He sucked in Utah.
Bam Adebayo is averaging 20 points, 9.5 rebounds, 3 assists, is a 3-time all-defensive player and a 1-time
That's great.
All-Star. That is a better resume than Jaylen
If that's
Brown.
the best player in your team, you're not going to contend. You're not going to be taken seriously.
You're trying to tell me Bam's not a max player.
He is not as valuable as the other two guys, is what I'm telling you.
Okay, fine. But even so, you can't just not pay him a max contract. He's a max player. There can be more valuable max players than the others. Okay, who's better, Giannis or Jayson Tatum?
Giannis is better.
So Jayson Tatum shouldn't be a max player then because Giannis is. This is the
true.
Argument. This is the argument you're making. This is the same argument, and you're not seeing my point.
I do see your point, Jack, but it's completely different. Your team is not going to go nearly as far with Bam as the best player. It's just not happening.
Okay. So they're just supposed to say, okay, let's gut it. Let's rebuild.
They should gut the other guys.
So Bam is a max player.
He could be, but in the situation they have, it's very difficult to throw money at somebody like that.
Bam
isn't their number one problem. Absolutely not. But in this situation, like, he's fine. He's a good player. But that's not, I don't know. There's a point there. He is not somebody that is just going to create offense for you. It's not happening. It's not. He's not going to take over a game and win you a game in crunch time. It doesn't happen.
There's two sides of the ball.
It's true.
Completely ignoring defense in your argument, by the way.
No, I'm not. Both those guys in the Celtics play defense.
Yes, but your argument is only creators should be max players. So you're completely ignoring one side of the ball in that argument. And not to dredge up old pain, but you're saying he's not going to come up clutch and win you games at the end of games. He kind of did that against the Celtics in the playoffs on defense.
Yeah, but he's not taking over a game, Jack. I'm telling you that right now.
Bam Adebayo is absolutely a max contract player. He's the same age as Tatum. And just because Tatum is far and away a better player than him, and Jaylen Brown, I'll even put you, obviously, Jaylen Brown, I think is a better player. I'm playing devil's advocate. But just because two players are better than other players doesn't mean that other player is a max contract. Like you said with Giannis, like you'd say with Luka, like you'd say with Steph Curry. They are max contract players, and just because they are doesn't mean Jayson Tatum is. Players need to play their young all-star, all-NBA caliber players. They need to pay them.
I think this is really what I'm trying to say. Is he someone you should pay the max? I guess, but it's one of those players where it hurts to pay them the max because you're not getting the most you can get out of that slot, but they still are in the threshold of that.
But there's no other way to get the most out of that slot.
Sure, there is. You're the Heat. You have Miami. That's what I'm saying. It's
they
not
didn't have
Utah
other
where
money.
they have no market.
If you want to argue that the Kyle Lowry contract was stupid, I'm going to give
you
that.
That one's stupid.
Sure.
The Butler contract stupid.
I'm not.
Out of all the contracts, the Bam one is probably the least stupid, including.
I think it's absolutely stupid to argue against Bam Adebayo being a max contract. I think there's I disagree with it, but I think there's a very easy argument to argue that he's a better player than Jaylen Brown. I would take Brown, but I think there's a very clear and easy argument to argue Bam's better. He has a better resume. He's better on defense. He's not an offensive shot creator, but he brings you other things on offense, right? Like there's an easy argument there. And for you to say like it's a waste of money effectively to give Bam a max contract is just like, that's like ridiculous, because that's not how the NBA works. That's not how it works. You can't just say, okay, let's not pay Bam, let's bring in LeBron because he's a free agent. Like there's levels to it, and you can't afford to pay Bam because he's younger.
Cap because you keep guys on your team. That's how it works. I understand.
I think saying Bam isn't, X player to give you this, so we're not going to sign him, is effectively saying, okay, Jaylen Brown is an X player to give you this, so we're not going to sign him. We're going to take our chances somewhere else. Like that's just not how it works. And Birkin also, come on, like
Giannis is not a basketball player.
Come on, like come on. Bam Adebayo is absolutely a max contract player. I would defend that statement, and I think I'd get a lot of people to agree with me. You can say some other guys around the league aren't max contract players and fall into the argument of, their team has to pay them because they don't have another option, whatever. But Bam Adebayo, I don't think is one of them. But anyways, we've talked enough about the Heat and the Celtics, I suppose, for now. Game is about to tip off soon, so we can wrap up. Anything else you want to say before we get on out of here?
Yes. Pick of the night presented by Smash the Odds. They have an 11-4 record on the pregame show, so you are winning money most of the time if you take the pick. It is Brogdon over 12.5 points. My pick, Grant Williams over 1.5 threes. That's at plus odds, big time, like 175. Jack, anything?
I was gonna probably go look at the Grant threes anyway, so I'll stick with
Okay, we doubled down 2 units on the Grant threes. Then that's what we say.
There you go.
Spend all your money.
100%.
Again, 11-4
no, wait, maybe not.
on the pregame show. And had a clean sweep yesterday for the premium picks. So go subscribe. Tell them the handsome guys talking hoops sent you.
Please do. Please do.
Apparently, and go over to the channel that's ours.
Apparently, Prince William and Kate are at the game tonight. That is what I'm
cares. People get like really worked up about that, and I truly don't know why people care.
I just think it's interesting. I don't really care. But
like people, there are people that really care.
I know there are. Anyways, all right, that'll do it for us tonight. Expect more videos tonight. If you didn't have time to watch the full podcast on How About Them Celtics podcast today, there'll be clips out tomorrow, so you can check it out there. We put out a short today comparing Semi Ojeleye to Grant Williams because I thought it was funny, so you can check that out. Like Landon has said in the chat, if you're watching on Guy Boston Sports, head on over to the How About Them Celtics podcast YouTube channel. Subscribe there. We greatly appreciate it. We're encroaching upon 150 subscribers, which would be great. Check us out on Twitter. Yes, those are below our faces. Check out How About Them C's on TikTok, Instagram, and Twitter. And we will see you guys 30 minutes before the next Celtics game. Or Sam will, at the very least. I might not be. So we'll see you there. Peace out.